Hey folks, this is Matt once again. Kind of strange, I'm actually redoing this video because I did a video, but that was pretty half-assed, so I wanted to do it again. Of my top 10 favorite films of 2012, and this won't be that long of a video. Mainly because I've reviewed all these films, or pretty much all these films that are in my top 10. You can just go to my channel, type in the title of the movie, and you'll find a much more in-depth review as to why. And this is my list, not yours. If you want to make a list, make a list. Make your own list, make your own video, make your own reasons. Be my guest. This is my list. Okay? Can't deal with it, tough. Underworld Awakening gets a special mention. Be right outside the top 10, because Underworld Awakening I did enjoy. I didn't think I would. Before I saw this film, I'm like, yeah, I'm not really into Underworld. But Underworld Awakening I thought was very fast-paced. It was a short film, but very efficient. I thought it was a film that had a lot of action. Kate Beckinsale was pretty badass. She kicked a lot of ass. I liked some of the effects. I like the idea they put some practical stuff, not 100%, but they put some practical usage of the creatures and such. I appreciated that. Yeah, not 100%, but I appreciate the effort of trying to put some of it in. And I thought it was, Kate Beckinsale was fucking people up and got violent at times, and I was never bored with it. It made me go back and watch the Underworld films. And the first Underworld, watching it again, I don't really hate it. And Underworld 2, I like now. I'm not a big fan of the third one, but, Kate Beckinsale, I really grew to like her in the role. So Underworld Awakening is the reason why I went back and started liking at least the first two Underworld films and the Kate Beckinsale character. So yeah, I think Underworld Awakening for that. Because it was straightforward, it was to the point, and it was pretty fast paced. And also the Avengers, because it's not on my worst. It's not on my 10 favorites, but I like the Avengers okay. But I just liked it okay. I don't love it to death like a lot of people. I like it okay. I don't know. I did a top 10 of 2013 that I'm looking forward to, and there's really no comic book movies on there. Like Iron Man 3 and Thor 2. I think I'm getting burnt out by comic book movies. I think that's really the deal. I hated Dark Knight Rises. Not because it's a comic book movie, but because of, well, you already know why. Amazing Spider-Man, you already know why as well. I'm just getting burnt out on comic book movies. And The Avengers I thought was okay. It did its job, but I liked the film, but I don't love it to death. I thought it began at a slow pace, took a while for it to kick into gear. The whole sequence of them fixing the damn ship wasn't really interesting. The only thing that kept me interested during that scene was when Thor and the Hulk were having a fight. Hawkeye was underused, and I like Jeremy Renner. Black Widow, I don't give a fuck as a character. But yeah, I like the film okay. I don't love it to death. I'm sorry. I liked it okay. But I'm just getting burnt out on comic book movies. I really am. But getting to my 10, this is my list, not yours, my list. Number 10 is safe. I know some good friends who will disagree. That's fine. But granted, the first 30 minutes of Safe is wishy-washy with the editing, the way they edited the film. They put the narrative, they did like a little differently. I didn't really appreciate that. I think they could have done more of a straightforward narrative. But after that wonky bit of business, and even then, I still appreciated Jason Statham's character. I still felt sorry for Jason Statham's character. Still rooted for Jason Statham's character. And then the next hour, I saw Jason Statham kicking a lot of ass. I love the bit where he gets behind the guy and does like, just behind the guy and just boom, awesome move. The guy slams right into the table, shooting people up, fucking people up left, right, and center, kicking ass, taking names, handguns, fisticuffs. I love that bit. And I felt it was a much better improvement over the mechanic, which there was nothing in the mechanic I care for, action-wise or plot-wise or anything. And much better than the Killer Elite. Killer Elite was badly misadvertised. You thought it was just a a Jason Statham action film. That's what I go to see, and it's more of he's an agent, double agent, and very particular in the plot, which I know shouldn't be a bad thing, but it just seemed very slow, very boring, very you're undercover, no you're not, then who's this guy, I don't trust this guy. It's just really plot that just dragged it down to a fucking crawl. It was definitely not the film they advertised. So I thought this was much better than those. I think it's much better than Transporter 3. Like Transporter 3, there's nothing good in Transporter 3. There's nothing good in The Killer Elite. There's nothing good in The Mechanic to me. But here, I like the idea of Jason Statham's character. I feel sorry for his character, his redemption of his character. So I got that bit. Plus, Jason Statham kicking ass, and the last hour I thought was very quickly paced with some good action scenes. It's not up there with Transporter 1 or 2 or Crank 1 and 2, but I liked it kind of like I like Blitz, Like, I think there's these really great ones like those. Then there's ones in the middle. Like, I like Death Race. I like Blitz. I like Safe. And then there's the ones I don't like. I'm not a fan of The Bank Job. I'm not a fan of Transporter 3. I'm not a fan of Killer Elite or The Mechanic. I think this one goes in the middle, but I don't think it's a bad film. I had fun with the film. Number 9 is Chronicle. It took the found footage genre and did twists on it. And this is what I liked. The found footage genre is getting very tired. People wonder how come I didn't put Paranormal Activity 4 on my worst? Because I didn't watch it. Why did I not watch it? Because I did not like Paranormal Activity 1 or 2 or 3. So why the fuck should I watch 4? I didn't want to waste my time. I didn't want to waste my fucking bullshit on that. I just didn't want it. But, it's a genre that I think is kind of getting stale. But this, I like that the director and the writers, I know one is related to John Landis. I think it's Max Landis. They took it and they tweaked it. So it was more of a superhero movie. It's kind of the origin of a superhero, and in a way, an origin of a supervillain in a way as well. I liked the 3 main characters. I thought they were well developed. I thought the found footage angle worked very well. I liked their abilities, or abilities if I can learn Herton phonics. They could rise. One person particularly can get the camera and with his thoughts move it around in the air so it has these smooth movements. It's not just herky-jerky and all that shit. It's because he can control with his mind, so he has all the cameras around him, and that's where you get the different angles, and they can glide and be in the sky, and I thought that's a good idea, and I thought the effects for a low-budget film were well done. The ending is not your typical found footage ending, which I appreciated. Again, I thought the 3 main characters were well developed, had some good dramatic moments, and Chronicle was a welcome surprise. It was a film I didn't have much hope for, but I saw it, and I'm like, bravo. I like, if you don't do found footage, you gotta mix it up. And this is what I thought was the step in the right direction. VHS, I think, is a step in the wrong direction, but, I know they're doing a sequel to Chronicle, which I don't think you need, but, oh well. I still really like Chronicle. Number 8, Men in Black 3. I was impressed with Men in Black 3 because I was disappointed in Men in Black 2. And I'm like, I don't know, do we need a Men in Black 3? I still would rather see a Bad Boys 3. But that's me. But Men in Black 3, I thought it did its job well. I thought this was a worthy sequel. I thought Tommy Lee Jones, Will Smith, for the little bits of there, worked well together yet. The plot, I wasn't sure about the time travel plot, but it worked very well. I think that's really thanks to Josh Brolin, who nailed a younger the persona of a younger Tommy Lee Jones. I thought Josh Brolin really nailed that part. I thought it went at a fast pace. It didn't feel too long, but it didn't feel too short either. Like, Men in Black 3 almost felt way too short, and like nothing happened. Here, it flowed better. It had an emotional ending. Granted, my only problem is with the ending. It doesn't really make sense when you watch the first film and you know more about Tommy Lee Jones' character in the first film. Why, with his wife, he's missing his wife. But then this comes in, and I'm like, wait a minute, what about, him missing his wife? And That's another thing I didn't like about part 2. They kind of throw that plot away about his wife, and oh yeah, she left again. I'm like, what? So Men in Black 2 was just disappointing. But here, I didn't like that bit, but it was still a good emotional ending, and it made me feel something. That's that can be rare to do, especially Men in Black 3. But I thought it was well done. I thought it was well executed. It was a good step up, good redeeming film from Men in Black 2. Men in Black 2, I didn't watch as a time waster, but it was disappointing. That's number 8. Number 7, Skyfall. I know. I was kind of surprised that there's actually quite a few people who did not like Skyfall. And granted, I think it was too long, but I enjoyed Skyfall. I thought it was a good-looking film. I thought Daniel Craig, I enjoy him as James Bond. I thought when the action scenes happen, like the action scenes in the tunnel or at the end, and sort of James Bond's old haunting grounds, so to speak, sort of his home. I thought they were big, they were broad, and when I mean broad, I mean they were not like shaky cam edited to fucking bits. It was big, it was well executed, it didn't look like shit. It looked very well done. I got interested in the plot, sort of a revenge plot from one of the bad guys. The MacGuffin of the CD, the agent's identities, that's kind of what it was. It was MacGuffin. It was more about Javier Bardem, which I thought was a memorable James Bond villain. Like, to be honest, from GoldenEye to now, the Bond villains really were not much to me. They weren't really that memorable, like fucking Shaun the Beanie Baby and GoldenEye, or in any of the other Daniel Craig films. Can you remember the James Bond villains? Like the villains of those films, the other Daniel Craig ones? But here, I remember Javier Bardem. And if you've seen the film, you know what I'm doing. But I like what they did with Judi Dench. She was pivotal to the plot. And I liked some of the little hints to the old James Bond, because even though I didn't grow up with them, I knew of them. And I thought, very entertaining film. It's too long, I still think, but it was an entertaining film. Number 6 is Alice Cross. I put that on there because I'm a sucker for movies that get lambasted and bashed around and kicked around. And I like sticking up for sort of the underdog type movies. That's in my eyes. Films I'm like, hey, I liked it. So those become a little bit closer to my heart. Hence, you see those two posters right there. But Alice Cross, I know a lot of people didn't like it, didn't care for it, that's fine. Or thought it was just mediocre, or thought it was nothing special. But that was almost kind of why I liked it, because this probably will go into 2 parts. Fuck yeah, I'll put this into 2 parts so I can get into these each. What I liked about Alice Cross, this is probably the last one I talk about, then I'll go to part 2 of this video. I like Tyler Perry. I know a lot of people don't, but I don't care about Medea. I thought Tyler Perry, if I said his name right, I thought he did his job. He tried his damnedest. He tried his best. He wasn't sleepwalking through the role. And I appreciate the effort, and I liked him. I liked him in the role as Alice Cross. I liked his partner played by Edward Burns. I liked their little back and forth they had. I really liked the bad guy that they had in the film. I thought he was a very solid bad guy. I thought, wow, this guy really works well. If they don't do a reboot on Hitman, the video game, they could hire this guy, the villain of Alice Cross, to play the Hitman. I just really liked the bad guy. I liked the ideas that it had, like him set up this big fucking bazooka as this train goes by and firing it. I like Tyler Perry's speeches. Like he's talking to, I think her name is Cicely Tyson, and talking about how he's going to go to this guy and he's not going to let him take any more of his family away. I bought it. And granted, the ending kind of messes up with the shaky cam, but still, that's a flaw. But I was entertained. I mean, it was straightforward, didn't have a shitty ending, well, you know, a downbeat or stupid or out of the blue ending. I liked the lead guy. I liked his partner. I liked the bad guy. I was fine with what was going on. The little bits in there. The bad guy sneaking in through the water tunnel thing, the water system, and the little action that happens there. I thought it was decently directed for the most part. I thought the action scenes for the most part, you know, worked. It wasn't awesome, but I liked Dallas Cross. So either way, stay tuned for part 2.